Many people ask the question, life is very painful. Why is life so difficult? Now, some of us are blessed to have less difficulties than others, but no one is immune of the challenges of life. We will suffer losses, hopefully losses that are of people that are older than us, not, God forbid, younger. No, it's natural for a person's parents to pass away before they do. That means it's inevitable that in our lifetimes we'll lose a parent, and both parents at some point. May they all live well and be well for many, many years, but there's certain inevitabilities in this world. And then there are other disappointments and losses and traumas that we go through, some man-made, some natural, some that we bring upon ourselves. But we will go through challenges in our lives, that's a given. And philosophers and sociologists and thinkers and psychologists throughout history have always struggled with the question of dealing with the anxieties and the stresses and the upheavals of life. To the point there's actually a disagreement, there's an argument in the Talmud where Shammai and Hillel, two classic sages, argue, is it worth being born? Where one says, Nuach la'adam, it's more pleasant for a person to be born than not to be born. And Shammai says it's more pleasant for a person not to be born than to be born, because life is fraught with challenges. A soul, prior to its coming to this world, does not have to deal with health, does not have to deal with mortality, does not have to deal with injustices, with murders, with crime, with all the vices of the human race, with the corruption and the toxins of this world. A soul lives in its own spiritual environment. So based by that contrast, you would think that it's more pleasant not to come to this earth. And actually the ruling is according to Shammai, even though he's usually the ruling is according to Hillel. In this case, he's the one that is considered to be the correct opinion. So then, of course, the obvious question is, so why are we born? If the ruling is more pleasant not to be, so the Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi gives a very simple and brilliant answer. The expression is nuach. It's more pleasant not to be born, but it's more meaningful to be born. Since when is life about pleasantness? If you talk pleasantness, so you have a Mishnah that says the following, the Talmud in the Ethics of the Fathers. Yafa shah achas, 1 hour of tshuva, of return and good deeds in this world is worth more than the entire life in the world to come. The entire spiritual existence cannot compare to 1 hour of effort and challenge of this life. But then the Mishnah continues and says, Yafa shachas, and 1 hour of pleasure in the world to come is more than all the pleasures of the entire world, every pleasure that we may experience. It's interesting. So if you talk about pleasure for the human being, it's much more pleasurable not to have a body and physical limitations and all the challenges and dangers that life poses in this world. More pleasant, but more meaningful. Talk about quality, purposeful. Purposefulness is only fulfilled in this world because there's no challenges. Living in Gan Eden, in paradise, in a spiritual realm for a soul, is like a fish in water. It's very pleasurable and very enjoyable, but there's nothing to be achieved. It's achieves in growing through study Torah, connecting to God, and so on. But there's no impediment, there's no challenge, so then there's no real growth, there's no real movement.